Welcome, 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 you guys. It is your girl, Brown Skin Exoticals, and I'm back with another video for you guys. So today's video is going to be a bit of a rant. It's going to be a little all over the place, so I need y'all to try to keep up with me as best as you can. Now, I get this email about 2 weeks ago from Beautiful Exotical, who's brought it to my attention that Netflix has another series, and it's dedicated to the life of Queen Charlotte, who, according to historians, was a mixed race woman. And even some of the racism and the persecution she faced was directly related to the fact that she was a beautiful, as this person wrote, dual heritage, biracial queen. Now, it's funny that they had a night celebrating this documentary, but it wasn't about mixed excellence. It was about, quote, Black joy and Black royalty done by Queen of Bounce, Big Frida, who I believe is I don't even want to get into what that person is. I honestly don't know. I'm not in hip hop at all, as you guys are aware. But talking about another example where the Black community will pretend mixed and exotical people are Black when we succeed, when we have achievements in history. That's why I keep saying it. Black culture is just mixed culture that Black people have taken credit for. That was so great. Let me say that again for the people in the back. Black culture is just mixed culture that the Black community has taken credit for. So even in this image here, you see it has over 5,000 likes, and they're talking about how, quote, every Black girl can finally see herself represented as royalty. I have nothing with Black girls loving themselves. If anything, that would help mixed and exotical women more, because y'all would stop comparing yourself to us and trying to fight and bully us growing up. But let's look at this quote from Little Kim just to show you a bit of the psyche of your average Black woman. All of my life, men have told me I wasn't pretty enough, even the men I was dating, and I'd be like, well, why are you with me then? It's always been men putting me down, just like my dad. To this day, when someone says I'm cute, I can't see it. I don't see it no matter what anyone says. Now, my issue with the whole, we need representation in the media. We need to showcase more beautiful Black women and girls, and they need to be black, dark skin, 4C hair, broad nose, broad lips. They say these things, but they don't mean them. Whenever there's an exotical who becomes a millionaire, whenever that mixed girl gets the commercial, when the mixed woman is doing big things, when the Olympic records are being broken, you are okay with us being Black then. But let's be honest with something that I've seen. It's never enough. With Black women and girls, the representation's never enough. The representation they're given, they're never Black enough, they're never dark skinned enough, and if they are dark skinned and Black, well, they benefit from pretty privilege or texturism, and oh, this light skinned girl benefits from colorism or featureism. It's always never enough. They're never Black enough for these women. But at the same time, the same Black women will never go to someone who looks like them. And it's funny because they'll say, well, what about Black women in media? Then it's, well, what about Black fat women in media? What about Black fat women who are queer in media? It's always something, because as I've said on this channel, you will never be able to love yourself if you're relying on someone else to do it for you. If they keep seeing themselves in groups, they're never going to get to the point of self-love and self-acceptance. And the Black community never likes to actually address the issue. They just like to make it an other people problem. And that's with everything. So even when you have beautiful, exotical, and mixed race beautiful women like these light-skinned women here who are killing it in the hip-hop game, killing it in social media, doing big things, making people pay that exotical tax, because that's what we do, it's still not enough. Because even if these women admit and lie essentially and say, oh, I'm Black, I love my Blackness, even if they have all Black women that they put on, just as Nicki Minaj does, it's never enough for these women. Speaking of Nicki Minaj, that poor woman has been in this industry so long, but she was always getting so disrespected. And when she would get disrespected, what would everyone say? Oh, it's because she's a Black woman in the industry. No, it's because she's a mixed woman in the industry. And even with Cardi B, as I mentioned in yesterday's video, she's Afro-Latina. You're being Black and Latina at the same time means you're worth less than dirt to your average unambiguous dark-skinned Black woman. And we all know this. So when are we as exoticals, even in our spheres of influence, even though we're not celebrities, whether that's celebrities or even historical figures like with Queen Charlotte, it doesn't matter how much we do or how much we let them take credit for, they're not going to love themselves. They being dark-skinned black women and dark-skinned black people for in general, because dark-skinned black women have been terrorizing mixed men forever. and but they'll be the same ones to try to rush to make one of us. It's the most hypocritical thing. And my dear friend Exoticals United did talk about how they will disrespect us and hate us, but rush to go procreate and make one of us as a way to feel better about themselves. One thing I don't hear talked about enough is the self-loathing and the lack of self-esteem in the black community. And it's funny because when I discuss it and I talk about it, I'm being the racist exotical. I'm being the mixed woman who hates her blackness. I'm telling black business, quote unquote, even though again, mixed. So honestly, when is this going to be addressed? When is it going to be the black community's job to, as individuals, feel better about their own blackness and love themselves? Not mixed people, not, hey, Nicki Minaj, talk about what it's like for black women in social media. Or, hey, Zendaya, you should talk about black women and girls. That's none of our business. And another thing I've noticed with this trend of we need representation is their everlasting entitlement. That's not fair. Why wasn't the dark-skinned woman picked? Why can't I be with the white man? This sucks. I hate it here in America. I hate this. I hate that. It's always something they're complaining about. And the thing I've noticed, regardless of complexion, regardless of how beautiful a woman is, if she is always complaining, nagging, whining, it stops anyone from listening to her. That's just something I've seen and I'm aware of. And even us as exoticals, we don't need to complain because we know people are always listening to us, but I can't say the same for dark-skinned black women.